state of our roads, and then some of the matters going on in the country. We'll start off with that one, as we're joined now by Mr. Ikeazor Akaraiwe, who is the former first vice president of the Nigerian Bar Association. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Well, let's set the background because this is out there really. Yesterday we had a government person who was here and then some comments which was made by some government officials previously. There are those who think that it looks contradictory, but maybe it's perception here. But let's take a look at this report. Sharon Kibale did put it together, but okay, we'll come up with the report a little later as it is. But from the look of things now, when we had the government persons yesterday, because after they announced the cancellation of that contract, because the president had given a hint, followed through the day after, then Bi-Courtney, the legal issues that were being raised, because of course contracts being entered into. So the thinking then is, how does government get into agreements? People talk about the implication for PPP, but in this case, do you think there are legal issues concerned that they need to sort out or should have sorted out before this announcement?
Yes, in my view, obviously, there's been a failure in the area of diligence, due diligence in the matter. There's not been sufficient investigation. They've not looked at all the issues, so the government is being made to look like a juvenile. Today saying one thing and tomorrow doing another thing, and it doesn't help the confidence of the people in their government. So I think there is a failure. There's been a cutting short of the process. The process was not fully looked over or followed through. And then certain things begin to emerge at the end of the day. Like now we are looking in the press and there's this story that the head of the consortium is being arraigned in court. And so I begin to think, is there no connection between certain facts which later emerged, which now leads to his arraignment in court and the termination of the contract? You can't help seeing that there might be a connection somehow.
Okay, let's take a look at that report and then we'll continue from there.
It has been 45 days since work resumed on the Lagos-Ibadan expressway. This is how a portion of the road now looks. The much controversial concessioning of the road has been on for about 3 years, while fatal accidents and deaths occur unchecked and people are stuck several hours in traffic. At last, construction started, but how far?
Today is just 1 month and some few days. I think they have done, bearing the intervention of rain, the weather. I think they've done very good. Regarding the few weeks of Yuletide season that we are going into, if you know the history of this road, you will know that this is the time to ensure this road is put in right shape.
As it stands now, patience is key as the already narrow road now accommodates the construction burden. But when this portion is done, work will move to the center of the road. But then vehicles must move in this manner. The fear now is as the Yuletide approaches, it is expected that there will be more vehicular activities on the road within the period. One can only imagine how rugged the usually clumsy road will look.
See, when you are repairing an existing road, you have to be very careful. A major consideration is road users. You can't stop the road from functioning. You have to build within the constraints. Nigerians will expect that this road will finish on schedule.
All said, and with what is done so far, the only acceptable situation for most users of the road who have plied in pains for years will be that the government, the concessionaire, and the construction companies deliver the road and on time. Sharon Kibale, reporting for Channels Television News.
Okay, well, there you have that report. And in the meantime, we'll still expect the Minister of Works, Mr. Michael Nolomeme, to come forward and then just explain certain questions which were not answered yesterday when we had the Deputy Director of Planning in the Federal Ministry of Works. Well, as we see in that report, as a matter of fact, yesterday we just tried to ask him, what was the due diligence done? How did Julius Berger and RCC arrive at, how did government come to giving RCC and Julius Berger this contract? That question has not been answered by them. How much? For what purpose? What were the details of the contract? No word from the representative yesterday. And so it raised a lot of questions, because there were those who say, even in that report, some members of the government say, listen, okay, not bad so far. But yesterday, the representative said, no work was done whatsoever. So it leaves everyone confused.
Yes, and it not only leaves everyone confused, it makes you think that we are still dealing with this corruption incorporated, which is the problem in Nigeria. Because how can a country like Nigeria, how can it be said that a contract was given to RCC and Berger, and then the contract was not done according to the usual way of doing it? You know, I find it so difficult. I'm confused myself about the whole thing. I watched the program actually yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I did, and I was just alarmed. My mouth was wide open, and I was saying, how can these people be saying what they are saying? And it becomes clear. It makes you think that that there must be some interests which costs elements in the government to award the contracts without following through with the procedure. That's the feeling you have. I may be wrong, but that's the feeling they leave you with.
When you say interest, yes. Interests different from the interest to ensure that the roads are fixed?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. There must be some personal interest. What there might be, I shouldn't say there must be, there might be some personal interest. What am I going to gain from this? What's in it for me? W11 FM. That is what you begin to think. Because how could it be said that contracts were actually executed, and at the end of the day, it emerges, either by implication or directly, that the necessary due diligence was not done? But this whole thing makes me go back to my original theme all the time. I keep saying that we need to rework the federation. The federal government is too large and takes on too much. This whole issue of infrastructural failure, the roads are not being done, it is because the federal government is controlling too much in the budgetary allocation. If some of these were devolved to the states, I think that we're going to complain much less about whether roads are done or not, because the states are closer to the people. So the infrastructural failings we see in Nigeria today, in my opinion, is intrinsically linked with the dysfunctional federalism we practice. That is what I think. Yeah,
but you see, there seems to be two perspectives. The government handling of this matter,
yes,
between the contractor and the contractor, is it offerer or offeree? But the thing also is that as much as the people, as long as they're concerned out there, they don't really want to know what's going on. Some of them just want the road to be fixed.
Absolutely.
And so if whoever government has given has not fixed it, kick them out and get the road fixed.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with saying, well, two things there. Should we just disregard however they handled it, as long as the road is fixed, which is what people want to hear? So how do you reconcile that point of view from the point of law wherein you have to do things right first and foremost before you get the road fixed?
Yes, well, I understand. I know why Nigerians will want, look, we don't want all this long grammar. Just give us this road so we can do our business, because, of course, road infrastructure is extremely integral to a good economy. So I fully understand that. But even then, we must do the right thing. Things must be done right. Otherwise, if you don't do the right thing, the day will come when, because you have established a culture of, you don't have a procedure, you don't have a process, then something very, very awful will go wrong. So let the I's be dotted and the T's be crossed. Let the contracts be done. Let the contract be advertised in the press, and then let it be given to the most qualified, and let there be the usual the checks, the background checks done on the contractors and so on. Do the right thing.